ஆழ்வார் திருடிகளே சரணம், எம்பெருமானார் திருடிகளே சரணம், பிள்ளைலோக்காச்சாரியர் திருடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருடிகளே சரணம். ஸ்ரீசைலேஷ தயாபாத்திரம் தீபக்தியாதி குணார்ணவம் யதீந்திர பிரவணம் வந்தே ரம்ய ஜாமாதரம் முனிம் ரம்ய ஜாமாத்ரி யோகீந்திர பாத ரேகாமயன் சதா ததா யத்தாத்ம சத்தாதி ராமானுஜ முனிம் பஜே லக்ஷ்மீநாத சமாரம்பாம் நாத யாமுன மத்தியமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சாரிய பரியந்தாம் வந்தே குரு பரம்பராம் யோ நித்யமச்சுத பதாம்புஜ யுக்மருக்மம் व्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माताम्यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य न कुलपतेरुकुलाभिरामं श्रीमद्तदङ्घ्रियुगळं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महताह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेण परकाले यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यं लोकाचार्याय गुरवे कृष्णपादस्य सूनवे संसारभोगी संदष्ट जीव जीवातवे नमः. piLLai has mercifully given us many rahasya granthams. Primarily, there are 18 of them, but it is not limited to 18. But the primary 18 rahasya granthams are known as Ashtadasha rahasya granthams. In that, there are some granthams which talk about rahasya trayam, that is Tirumantram, Dvayamahamantram and Charmashlokam. There are some granthams which talk about Tattvatrayam, Chit, Achit and Ishvara. And there are some granthams which talk about very important principles of our Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam. One among those granthams which talk about the most important principles of Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam is pramEya SEkaram. Today we are going to enjoy the English rendering of this wonderful grantham, English rendering of the meanings of this wonderful grantham. In this grantham, piLLai beautifully explains the ultimate goal of every Sri Vaishnava. Every Sri Vaishnava desires for this ultimate goal, which is to reach Paramapadam and engage in eternal Kainkaryam, service to Bhagavan along with Sri Mahalakshmi Tayar. This is the ultimate goal of every Sri Vaishnava, to reach Paramapadam and to do eternal Kainkaryam. Why is this the ultimate goal? That is because for the Jivatma, for the sentient being, the true nature is Sheshatvam and Paratantriyam. Sheshatvam means being subservient, and working for the glories of the Lord and Master. That is Sheshatvam. A Sheshabhuta will always look out for the greatness, for increasing the greatness of his Lord and Master. So for us, Sriman Narayana is the Lord and Master. So every moment we have to think about increasing his pleasure, his greatness, his glories, and so on. And Paratantriya means complete obedience, doing as per the desire of the Lord. Whatever we do, it must be according to the desire of Bhagavan. That is Paratantriya. So these two, Sheshatvam and Paratantriyam, are intrinsic nature of every Jivatma. Some realize it, many don't realize it in this samsara, in this world. For the one who realized this Swarupam, Sheshatvam and Paratantriyam, for such person, the ultimate goal is to reach Bhagavan in Paramapadam and to serve him eternally, especially for his pleasure, not our pleasure, for his pleasure. So, Kainkaryam means doing as per the desire of Bhagavan, the Lord. This is what is shown by Andal Nachiyar in Tirupavai, saying, எத்தைக்கும் ஏழேழு பிறவிக்கும் உந்தனோடு உத்தோமே ஆவோம் உனக்கே நாம் ஆட்செய்வோம் மத்தை நம் காமங்கள் மாத்து. Everyone knows Tirupavai. Everyone recites these pasurams. Chittanjiru Hale Vandunne Chevithu. This pasuram, Vanga Kadal Kadainda, all these pasurams, every day we recite these pasurams. In that Chittanjiru Hale pasuram, Andal Nachiyar beautifully brings out the ultimate goal of a Jivatma, which is to serve Bhagavan eternally without any break. உந்தன்னோடு உத்தோமே ஆவோம் உனக்கே நாம் ஆட்செய்வோம். ஆட்செய்வோம் means we will do Kainkaryam. And how will we do that? We'll do it for your pleasure, not our pleasure. That is what is Mattai Nam Kamangal Mathu. Eliminate our desire in it. So when we do Kainkaryam also, it should not be for my own satisfaction, my own desire, but it should be for Bhagavan's desire. In the case of Acharya, it is for the Acharya's desire. Pratama Parvam is doing Kainkaryam for Bhagavan. That is the initial stage. Ultimate stage is Charama Parvam, doing Kainkaryam for Acharya. But still, ultimate goal here, as per this Grantham, pramEya SEkaram, is to reach Paramapadam and to serve Bhagavan. In a sense, that is also ultimate goal because our Acharya is guiding us towards that only. Any Acharya, if we go to an Acharya, an authentic Acharya, that is what they will say. You have to serve Bhagavan eternally. That should be your goal. He will not say, come and serve me. He will say, you have to serve Bhagavan and Bhagavatas. So that is the desire of Acharya also. So fulfilling the desire of Acharya is also ultimate goal. In that sense, doing eternal Bhagavat Kainkaryam is also an Acharya Kainkaryam. So this pramEya SEkaram, it is talking about this ultimate goal of doing eternal Kainkaryam to Bhagavan and how one gets that. What are all the stages in that? pramEya means goal, SEkaram means best, ultimate. So that is the title of the Grantham, pramEya SEkaram, ultimate goal. And this ultimate goal here, as we see in this Grantham, is to reach Paramapadam and to serve Bhagavan according to his desire, for his pleasure, continuously, without any break. So that is the topic here in our hand. We are going to go through this Grantham. Very beautiful, very simple Grantham. There are some very, very simple Rahasya Granthams which are to the point and only few pages. And if we understand the principles from that Grantham, we will be very firm in our knowledge. We will acquire very good clarity about our Sampradaya principles. So in this Grantham, the ultimate goal is shown. It is shown as a sequence of activities, starting from how we get to that stage. So here pramEyam is the topic of discussion in this Grantham. Still, Upayam, that is the means, is also shown in the beginning, because Unless we know how we get there, we will not be able to appreciate what we received. So, in the beginning, the means is shown, and after that, the Grantham transitions into the goal, the different stages of getting the ultimate goal. So, we will see this Grantham in a step by step manner. The beauty of this Grantham is it is in Mani Pravadam, just as in the case of many other Granthams of our Purvacharyas. It is a mixture of Tamil and Sanskritam words. And there is more Sanskritam words here in this Grantham. So it is easy for even those who don't know Tamil but they are familiar with Sanskritam. This Grantham is very easy to understand. It starts with the first step. How do we get prepared for this ultimate goal? It all starts with Nirhetuka Bhagavat Kataksham. So the first step is Nirhetuka Bhagavat Kataksham. For anything good for us to happen, anything good is happening for us, the primary reason, the first and foremost reason is Nirhetuka Bhagavat Kataksham. It's a very important topic. Each word, each line in this Grantham is very valuable. They convey many important points. So here, Nirhetuka Bhagavat Kataksham. What does that mean? Nirhetuka means without any reason, unconditional, costless. That is the translation for Nirhetuka. Bhagavat Kataksham, Bhagavan's merciful glance. That Bhagavan's merciful glance is the starting point for a Jivatma to progress towards Bhagavan. When does that happen? It is happening constantly. Bhagavan is trying to bless the Atma constantly. But it manifests in a Jivatma when the Jivatma accepts that Kataksham. So Bhagavan is trying to help every Atma in every way. He is remaining as the Antaryami and he is guiding each Atma by glancing at the Atma, by giving his merciful glance. And that is the first point. So, starting with this Nirhetuka Bhagavat Kataksham. From that comes Ajnata Sukritam. Ajnata Sukritam means an Atma. See, this Atma is toiling in the samsaram since time immemorial. There is no beginning. Anadi. Beginningless. So, Atma is in samsaram since how long? No beginning. All along, those Atmas who are bound in this world, they have been bound in this world. There is no starting point. There is no concept of Atma coming from Vaikuntham, falling down here. There is no concept of Atma getting created newly. None of those are accepted in Shastram, in Vedam. Atma is always existing. There is no creation of Atma. There is no destruction of Atma. Atma cannot be created, nor it can be destroyed. It always exists. But it is in the bound state, in the samsara. For that Atma, there is constant engagement in many deeds, good and bad deeds. But at some point, by the grace of Bhagavan, with his merciful glance, this Atma performs unknowingly some valuable deed with respect to helping another Bhagavata, doing some service for Bhagavan, and so on. So this happens without the knowledge of the individual. These are all explained already in many granthams, such as Sri Vachanabhushanam, and also commentaries of Nambillai, Kalivairi Swami, and Periyavachan Pillai, Sri Krishnapada, in their commentaries, these are explained very elaborately. Ajnata Sukritam, I will just give one example. A person is there. He is living in Srirangam, let's say. Somehow he gets to live in this Srirangam and he buys a house and he builds a small veranda in front of his house for him to take rest and play some cards or whatever. He is not um, devoted to Bhagavan or anything. He is just somehow ended up in Srirangam. He gets a house and he builds a veranda in it and he relaxes there. One day he is inside his home. At that time, few Sri Vaishnavas are passing by his house and they are very tired and it's getting late in the night. So they see this open veranda which is built by this atheistic person who is not devoted to Bhagavan. He has built it for his own purpose. And these Sri Vaishnavas, they see it's open, so they go in and they rest there. And in the morning they leave. Now the person, the owner of the house, he doesn't know that some Bhagavatas, Sri Vaishnavas came and stayed there. And it was not his intent to invite them or to ask them to stay also. Still, because he unknowingly helped Bhagavatas, Bhagavan considers it as a very good deed. So, he reforms the Atma further. As the Atma has performed an unknowing good deed, Bhagavan appreciates that and he brings the Atma to the next stage, which is creating Advesham in the Atma. Advesham means not having hatred. So until that time, this Atma had so much hatred towards Bhagavan also. He didn't like Bhagavan. He didn't go to temple. He didn't appreciate Bhagavatas. So he was always angry and not happy with Bhagavan and Bhagavatas. But because of his Ajnata Sukritam, Bhagavan helps him develop Advesham. Again, it is by Bhagavan's mercy that Advesham occurs, non-hatred. So when he sees Bhagavatas, when he sees Bhagavan, now he is not having any hatred towards them. That is the next stage. And then, after that, he is getting Abhimukyam. Abhimukyam means being favorable towards Bhagavan and Bhagavatas. Until then, previously he was unfavorable. And then he became neutral by developing Advesham. After that, eventually, he is becoming favorable towards Bhagavan and Bhagavatas. As he develops this Abhimukyam, being favorable towards Bhagavatas, next stage occurs. Tyajyopadeya Vibhaga Jnana. In that, he becomes interested. Tyajya Upadeya Vibhaga Jnanam. That is, knowing what is to be abandoned, what is to be pursued. This discrimination, having knowledge in this discrimination, to be able to identify what is to be abandoned and what is to be pursued. He becomes eager in it. He becomes eager in knowing that. That is the next stage. Through that, the next stage is Satvika Sambhashanam. Then he goes and starts talking to Satvikas. Satvika means one who is completely devoted to Bhagavan, one who is having faith in Shastram, one who is remaining always calm, one who is very patient, one who is following all the principles of Shastram. So that person is Satvika. So this person who acquired the discrimination, the knowledge of discrimination in what is to be abandoned and what is to be pursued, next step he gets Satvika Sambhashana, interaction, discussion with wonderful devotees, good devotees, very advanced devotees. From that, the next step is Sadacharya Samashrayanam. Now he gets connected to a noble Acharya, very good Acharya, Sadacharya. We have to see the usage of words by piLLai lOkAchAryar. He is very carefully using Sadacharya. That means an Acharya who is very well situated in Bhagavan being Upayam and Bhagavan being Upayam. That person is Sadacharya. Having that connection with the Sadacharya. Usually we can say that this is Panchasamskaram stage. As one gets Advesham, Abhimukyam, and then a little bit of interest to learn about what is to be pursued and what is to be abandoned. And then for that he is going and discussing with good, noble Sri Vaishnavas. From that he gets a Acharya Sambandham, Sadacharya Sambandham, Samashrayanam. Samashrayanam means Sambandham, the direct connection happening between Acharya and Shishya. Now, after that, the next stage is Tyajyopadeya Nishchayam. Previously, he had the interest, eagerness to learn about what is to be abandoned and what is to be pursued. Now, after getting a Sadacharya, one who can guide the individual, the Shishya, reforming the Shishya properly, teaching when the Shishya goes in the wrong direction, pulling him back and setting him up in the correct direction, doing all of that. When such Sadacharya Sambandham, Samashrayanam happens, the next stage will be having clarity in what is to be abandoned and what is to be pursued. Previously, we started inquiring, now we have clarity. Now, after that, the next stage is having Vairagyam in Prapyantaram and having Abhinivesham in Paramaprapyam. These two should happen next. So, Vairagyam means Viragam, not having desire, attachment in Prapyantaram, other goals, whether it is wealth, whether it is health, whether it is good wife, whether it is children, family, house, land, all of these could be other goals which one may have. So, by having understood what is to be abandoned and what is to be pursued, then one gets detached from other goals and also one gets great desire towards the ultimate goal. So this happens. This is the next stage. Then the next stage, subsequent stage, is for the Prapyantara Nivritti and Paramaprapya Siddhi. Prapyantara Nivritti means eliminating other goals. For that, and Paramaprapya Siddhi, attaining the ultimate goal. For this, one has to accept Bhagavan as the established means. Bhagavan should be understood as the clear means, established means, already available. Bhagavan is already available for us as the means. So this Siddhopaya Swikaram, accepting Bhagavan as the Upayam. So that happens at this stage. Again, all of this could happen quickly also. As we get Sadacharya Samashrayanam, quickly one gets to next stages and gets this Siddhopaya SEkaram. Siddhopaya means Bhagavan who is the established means. Sadhyopaya means Bhakti Yogam, Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, Bhakti Yogam. All of these are Sadhyopayans. That is, we have to do some action to bring about that upayam. How will Bhakti Yoga manifest in us? By our constant devotion, dhyanam, and all that. But how is Bhagavan established? He is already established. We don't need to establish him. We just have to accept him as upayam. So, Siddhopaya SEkaram, accepting Bhagavan as upayam, that happens. And subsequent to that, one will get tvara in Bhagavat Prapti. Tvara means urge, great sorrow to attain Bhagavan. Bhagavat Prapti, to attainment of Bhagavan, in that one will get tvara, the urge. One will feel that one has to attain Bhagavan immediately, cannot sustain without Bhagavan. After this, the next stage is Bhagavan is now thinking about this Atma. It is the final moment of the Atma in this world. At that time, he may be able to think about Bhagavan or not. Still, Bhagavan thinks about that Atma. As said in Aham Smarami, Sthite Manasi Suswaste Sharire Satiyo Naraha Dhatu Samye Sthite Smarta Vishwarupam Mamajam. In that Varaha Sharma Shlokam, it is said, when one person surrenders to Bhagavan, when his consciousness is good, when his body is good, when he surrenders to Bhagavan at that stage, in the final moments, if he is in the state of a stone or a wooden log, having no thought process at all, being not able to think about Bhagavan, at that stage, Bhagavan thinks, Aham Smarami, I think about my devotee in his final moments, the one who has performed Sharanagati, performed surrender. I think about that person. And he carries that Atma to Paramapadam. So, that final moment comes when the tvara, the urge increases, the last moments come and the body falls down. At that time, Bhagavan thinks about this Atma. He thinks that, oh, this Atma has already surrendered to me. I have to go now and uplift him. I have to take him to Paramapadam. So, he thinks about this Atma at that time. Next, Anantaram. Bhuta Sukshma Sharira Parishvangam happens. That is, now the Atma is going to leave the body. When it leaves the body, it has to travel to its destination, ultimate goal, to Paramapadam. But without a body, the Atma cannot move anywhere. So at that time, it acquires a subtle body to travel through different lokas and reach Vaikuntham. So when the body falls, when Bhagavan thinks about that Atma acquires a subtle body. And subsequently, Paramatma Samsargam. This Atma, who's got a subtle body, now gets united with Paramatma in the heart. Because Paramatma is in the heart of the Jivatma, that is in this body, and this Atma is getting united with that Paramatma. And they both are going to traverse now. And after that, after the Jivatma reaching Paramatma and uniting with Paramatma, next step is, by the divine mercy of Bhagavan, who is known as Harda. Bhagavan is known as Harda because he is present in Hridayam, in the heart. By his grace, Marga Vishesha Prakasham will happen. Marga Vishesha Prakasham means Vishesha Margam, that is special path, the Archiradi path, the different lokas through which the Atma will traverse and reach Paramapadam. So that margam, that path is well seen by the Jivatma by the blessing of Bhagavan who is present there along with the Jivatma. After that, Hridaya Guha Nirgamanam. Now the Atma, now this Atma leaves the cave of heart. The heart is known as a cave and it is leaving that cave because it has to now start traveling towards Paramapadam in the Archiradi Margam. The Atma has seen the Archiradi Margam now and it has to now travel through that Archiradi Margam. For that, it starts from the heart. Atma is present in the heart along with Paramatma. Now the Atma leaves the heart and starts its journey towards Paramapadam in the Archiradi Margam. First, it leaves the cave of heart, Hridaya Guha. And then, Murdanya Nadi Nishkramanam. That is, it comes out of the front portion of our head, of the skull. It is coming through the Murdanya Nadi. That is one of the primary nerve which takes the Atma from the heart to top of the head. And it breaks this place and it goes out of, the Atma goes out of this place. Through here only, Atma generally goes to moksha. So that happens. After that, Archiradi Marga Gamanam, traveling in the Archiradi Margam. There are many lokas starting with Archis, Ahas, and many lokams are there like this. So the Atma goes through these lokams. At that time, Adivahika SEkaram happens. Adivahikas are those who help the Atma travel from one region or one planet to next planet, one region to next region. It is like, for example, only some people who have visa, they can travel from one country to another country. Similarly, these Ativahikas, they are like Indra, Varuna, all the Devatas, who can travel between different lokas. We are limited to our loka, but Devatas can travel between different lokas. So they help this Atma travel through the various lokas and also they honor in their abodes. For example, if we pass through Varuna's abode, Varuna will invite the Atma, he will wash the feet. Now, it's a subtle body, still he will do all the honors and then he will give send off to the Atma. So this Ativahika Satkaram, that happens. After that, so after these lokas are crossed, then the Atma enters into the Avarana. Avarana means the covering layers around the oval-shaped universe. There is Andam. Around the Andam, there are 7 layers of cover, Avarana. So, Avarana Atikramanam. Now, the Atma will cross the Avaranas also. After crossing the Avaranas, Anantaram, Prakriti Atilankanam. Prakriti Atilankanam means crossing over Mula Prakriti. Now, after crossing the Avaranas, finally the Atma enters Mula Prakriti place. Mula Prakriti is the primordial matter. And it crosses the Mula Prakriti also. After that, it reaches Viraja river. Viraja river is the one which is separating Samsara and Paramapada. Paramapada is above, Samsara is below. In between, there is Viraja river. This Kaveri, for example, we are in Srirangam now. This Kaveri is said to be a manifestation of Viraja river only. Kaveri Viraja Seyam Vaikuntam Rangamandiram Savasudevaha Rangesha Pratyaksham Paramapadam says this shlokam which glorifies Srirangam. So here Kaveri is said to be Viraja. So the Atma will be crossing the Viraja river. At that time, the Atma takes bath in the Vraja river. After that, while coming out of the Vraja river, Sukshma Sharira Vishlesham will happen. Remember, the Atma took a subtle body while leaving the gross body. That subtle body will also be eliminated while taking bath in Viraja river. Nothing enters into Viraja river from the samsara. Sorry, nothing enters into the Paramapadam from the samsara. Everything is washed away in the Viraja river. So only the Atma comes out at that time. When that Atma comes out, at that time, Apahata Papmatvadi Gunagana Praturbhavam, that will happen. When Atma enters into Vaikuntham, when it crosses Viraja river, that time itself Atma becomes pure. And also, Bhagavan has said and Shastram has said, Paramam Samyam Upaiti. This Atma will get equality in 8 aspects. Not every way, but 8 aspects. That is, Apahata Papma, Vijiraha, Vimrutyuhu, Vishokaha. In this manner, 8 aspects. That is, Atma will not have any sense, Atma will not have any hunger, it will not feel sleepy. So, all of these limitations in this world, everything will be eliminated. So, that is Apahata Papmatvadi Gunagana Pradurbhavam. So, all the qualities will be acquired to, will be given to this Jivatma by Bhagavan. Anantaram, subsequently, Amanava Karasparsham. After that, Amanava is a special personality who helps this Jivatma when he enters Paramapadam. When he comes out of Viraja river, it is Amanava who helps him come out and guides him to the next stages. So Amanava Karasparsham, that Amanava will touch this Jivatma. We know very well, Mannuirgalinge, Manavalamam Nivan, Punadiyam Sengamala Podugade, Uni Chiratale Tindal, Amanunum, Namai Karatale Tindal Kadan, says Yerumbiappa. In the additional Pasuram in Upadesha Ratnamala in the end, it is said that those who have great devotion towards Manavala Mamnigal, those who take shelter of Manavala Mamnigal's divine feet, such person will compulsorily be touched by Amanava. It is actually, it becomes a duty of the Amanava to touch and bring the Jivatma to the next stages in Paramapadam. That is the greatness of Manavala Mamnigal. Manavala Mamnigal is so powerful, so merciful that anyone who is having his connection will certainly be liberated by Bhagavan, and that happens by Amanava touching the Atma and taking him into Paramapadam. So that is the next step. After that, Bhagavat Sankalpa Kalpita Divya Deha Prapti. By this divine Sankalpam of Bhagavan, a beautiful divine body is given to this Atma. Until now, the Atma, while in Samsaram, he had materialistic body. Now he is getting a divine Aprakrita body, which is free from all the defects of Samsara. So that occurs next. After that, Akalakali Dividesha Prapti. This Dividesham, Paramapadam, is known as Akalakali Dividesham. That is, time is not the controller there. Bhagavan is the controller. Time is subservient to Bhagavan. Here in this world, time is controlling us. As we are moving forward in time, we are changing constantly. Our environment is changing. Everything is changing. Because time is changing all of that. But in Paramapadam, time has no control. Only Bhagavan has control. So, that Akalakali Divyadesha Prapti. So, we enter into Paramapadam now. After that, Aramhata Tatasnanamundam. Aramhrata Tatasnanam. There is a pond known as Aramhrata. Aramhrata is the name of a pond where this Jivatma with the divine body takes bath. After that, Divyanankaram. After that, divine decoration is done for the Jivatma, Jivatma's body. Now that Jivatma has a divine body, he is beautifully decorated. Here we have to understand one important point. All the Atmas, they are feminine by true nature because they are subservient to Bhagavan, who is the Purushottama, the supreme male. So, an Atma traveling from samsara to Paramapadam and reaching Bhagavan is to give pleasure to Bhagavan, as a divine consort will do, as a Dharma Patni will do. For that, when the Atma gets a divine body, after taking bath in the Aramhata pond, this Atma will be decorated by many Apsaras. Apsaras means divine women. They come and decorate this Atma. That is Divyanankaram. So that happens. So this is like a newlywed girl is decorated by the girls from the boys' side. They decorate this girl and take her to the groom. So similarly, this Atma, his body is beautifully decorated. And then he climbs on a Vimanam. Vimanam means a plane, a vehicle. This Atma with the divine body, he climbs on that flight because he has to go through several layers to to enter into Paramapadam. So he climbs on the Vimana, divine vehicle. And then Divya Kantara Pravesham. Kantara Pravesham means they go through beautiful forests, wilderness. So as the Paramapadam is also a beautiful abode, there is also beautiful forests, oceans, rivers, beautiful orchards, everything. So the Atma with the divine body on the flight travels through the forest, divine forest. And then Divya Apsaras Satkaram, many divine damsels will come and honor the Atma who has entered there with the divine body. Because this Atma has come from samsara, everyone is happy there. Oh, someone has come from samsara today. So everyone is welcoming, everyone is honoring such person. So the Apsaras, the divine ladies, they will come and honor this person, this Muktatma. Subsequently, Divya Gandha Pravesham, Bhagavan's divine fragrance, the fragrance emanating from Bhagavan's divine body is spread, divine body is spread everywhere. So one gets to enter into that divine fragrance. And then Brahmagandha Pravesham. Brahmagandha Pravesham is the direct fragrance from Bhagavan's divine body. Divyagandha Pravesham is the fragrance of the abode. Brahmagandha Pravesham means entering into the direct fragrance coming from Bhagavan's divine form. Subsequently, Aprakrita Gopura Prapti. Now there is Rajagopuram. Just like if you come to Srirangam, in the south side, there is a Rajagopuram, a huge tower which is recently built. So, like that, there is a main tower. So, we will enter that Gopuram. That Atma will enter that Gopuram. Subsequently, Divya Nagara Prapti. So, once they enter the Gopuram, they will enter into the divine town of Paramapadam. That happens. Subsequently, Suri Parishat, Pratyudgamanam happens. All the Nityasuris, Muktatmas, already liberated persons, they all come and welcome this Atma, the newly coming Atma. That happens. Subsequently, Rajamarga Gamanam. They go in the Rajamargam. Rajamargam means it's like Rajghat, for example, Rajdhani. So it's the main road leading to the palace. So one will traverse through that Rajamargam. And subsequently, Brahma Teja Pravesham. Brahma here is Bhagavan. Brahma is Bhagavan. Brahma is four-headed Devata, but Brahma is Bhagavan. So Brahma Teja means the radiance emanating from Bhagavan's divine form. That is filling the whole place. So one will enter that radiance. Next, Divya Gopura Prapti undam. Divya Gopura Prapti means we saw the Rajagopuram, and then inside the town, at the entrance of the palace, there is a huge tower, divine tower. So one will enter through that. And then Brahma Veshma Pravesham. Brahma Veshma means the divine palace of Bhagavan, the huge palace where Bhagavan is present in Paramapadam. This is the center of the whole Paramapadam. So, Brahma Veshma Pravesham, and then Divya Mandapa Prapti. Divya Mandapa is Manima Mandapam. Here also in Srirangam, we see this 1,000-pillar Mandapam. That is Manima Mandapam, Tiruma Mandapam. That is the great abode, great hall or great stage where Bhagavan is seated. So that Divya Mandapa Prapti, entering into that Mandapam where Bhagavan is present finally. And then Anantaram Divya Parishat Prapti. Now one will become united, one will join the divine servitors of Bhagavan, like Ananta, Garuda, Vishwaksena, everyone. So he will reach them, he will enter into their group. And subsequently, Sapatnika Sarveshwara Darshanam. After that, once he crosses the Nitya Suris and Muktas, he has the darshan, he gets the darshan of Sapatnika Sarveshwara. That is Sarveshwara along with his divine consorts, Sri Devi Nachiyar, Bhumi Devi Nachiyar, Neela Devi Nachiyar. Those are the primary consorts. And then there are other Nachiyars. So this Atma now gets the darshan of all of those, Bhagavan along with the divine consorts. And then Stuti Pranama Anjali Pramukha Sambrama Anuvartanam. Next stage is Stuti. The Jivatma will start praising Bhagavan. Pranama, he will offer obeisances. Anjali, he will join his palms and perform Anjali. Pramukha, like this. Sambrama Anuvartanam. Many enjoyable, rejoicing activities will be performed by the Jivatma. Seeing Bhagavan directly will be very joyful for the Jivatma, and he will perform Anjali, he will perform Pranamam, he will perform prayers to Bhagavan, praising Bhagavan. All of that will be done. Subsequently, Paramatma Samipa Prapti. One will get to go very near to Bhagavan, Paramatma. So one will get close to the Adishesha Paryanka, the great throne of Adishesha on which Bhagavan is seated. So one will go close to that. And then subsequently, Pada Pita Paryanka Arohanam. Pada Pita Paryanka, that is Arohanam. One will climb the steps of the Adishesha Peetham. Bhagavan is seated always on the Adishesha Peetham. So one has to step on the Pada Pita, that is the steps on the Simhasanam, on the throne, and climb there. Climb up to the place where Bhagavan is seated. Subsequently, Bhagavat Utsanga Sangam happens. Bhagavat Utsanga Sangam means the ultimate union with Bhagavan happens at that stage. Subsequently, alokana alapadi anubhavam. Next, alokana alapa. Alokana means glancing the Atma. Bhagavan will glance the Atma. Once Bhagavan gets that Atma on his lap, when the Atma climbs on the Adishesha Pita and goes to Bhagavan, he sits on the lap of Bhagavan. So at that time, Alokana Alapadi Anubhavam. Bhagavan will lovingly see the Atma, Muktatma, and he will inquire the Jivatma. Kosi, who are you? For that, the Jivatma will say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am your Shariram, I am your body. I am not separate from you. I am always together with you, says the Atma. So that all of that happens. Alokana, Alapadi, Anubhavam. Subsequently, Alinganadi Anubhavam. Bhagavan embraces the Atma tightly with the body, of course. Bhagavan embraces the Muktatma who has got a divine spiritual body now. He embraces the Atma. And then Swarupa, Rupa, Guna, Vigrahadi, Anubhavam. And then Jivatma now sees Bhagavan's Swarupam, Bhagavan's Rupam, Bhagavan's qualities, Guna, and then Bhagavan's divine forms. All of these experience will happen for the Muktatma. And then subsequently, Anubhava Janita Preeti Prakarsham. Once he gets the experience, because of that experience, continuous experience, Preeti Prakarsham, overflowing love towards Bhagavan will happen. Anantaram, subsequently, Nana Vida Vigraha Parigraham. Nana means many. After this Atma acquiring great love towards Bhagavan, the Atma will acquire many divine forms. Not one, not twice, not two, not three, but even thousands of forms. சென்றால் குடையாம் இருந்தால் சிங்காசனமாம் நின்னால் மறுபடியாம் நெற்கடலில் என்றும் புனையாம் மணிவிளக்காம் பூம்பட்டாம் புல்குமனையாம் திருமார்கரவு. Adishesha is having many forms and serving Bhagavan in every possible way. So, similarly, this Muktatma will also get many different forms so that all of those forms can serve Bhagavan. Anantaram, subsequently, Sarvadesha, Sarvakala, Sarvavastochitamana, Sarvaprakara, Kaikaryam Undam. This is the final goal. That is why it is said as ultimate goal, pramEya SEkaram. Subsequently, Sarvadesha, that is at all times, at all places, Sarvakala at all times, and Sarva Avastha in all ways, all methods. Uchita, Uchita means apt. Sarva Prakara in all different ways. Kainkaryam. That will occur. So this is the ultimate goal for the Jivatma. So after going through all of these different lokas, reaching Viraja, taking bath there, and then entering into Paramapadam, taking bath in the Aramhrata pond, and then acquiring a divine body, going through the different layers of Paramapadam, ultimately reaching the center Mandapam, Manima Mandapam, and climbing on the Adishesha Pita, being seated on Bhagavan's lap and having discussions with Bhagavan, and after developing very wonderful, joyful experiences, one will develop love towards Bhagavan, and that love will lead to acquiring many different forms and performing apt kainkaryams at all apt places, at all apt times, in all apt ways. So that is the Kainkaryam is the ultimate goal. The two eternal Kainkaryam to Bhagavan and Sri Mahalakshmi in Paramapadam. That is the ultimate goal, says piLLai lOkAchAryar in this Adbhuta Grantham. Very beautiful, but very simple. Very simple Grantham. It takes us through how an Atma goes through the different layers and finally reaches Bhagavan and finally engages in continuous Kainkaryam. So that is the pramEya SEkaram Grantham. I see that there is a question here. Let us see the question. I have heard if someone worships Bhagavan and commits sins and in the last moment remembers Bhagavan, he gets liberated. Is it true? See, there are incidents like Ajamila story where he was a very good person initially, but then he deviates from Shastram, he becomes indisciplined and does many mistakes. Finally, he calls out his son's name, Narayana, without intent to call Bhagavan. Still, because he called out Narayana, the Vishnu Dutas, they come and they fight with Yamadutas and carry the Ajamila. And Ajamila doesn't get liberated at that time immediately, but he gets another birth where he this time behaves in a proper way with great devotion and then finally gets liberated. There are multiple aspects here. One is upasakas, those who are practicing bhakti yogam. Bhakti yoga means as per Shastram. As per Shastram, only Traivarnikas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, those who have Yajnaopavitam, only they can do bhakti yogam. And that bhakti yogam also is not a one day, one birth event. It is usually spanning across even thousands of births. One has to progress steadily. So that upasaka, that bhakti yoga nishta, for him antima smriti is very, very compulsory. So even though he has been doing all this bhakti yogam continuously, still in the final moment, if he doesn't think about Bhagavan, then he will not get the ultimate goal at that time. But for a prapanna, for a surrendered person, if one surrenders to Bhagavan and then he lives his life, all his life, finally at the last moment he is not able to think about Bhagavan. Still, even though there is no Antima Smriti, Bhagavan thinks about him and he carries that Atma to Parampadam. This is the general difference between Bhakti Yoga Nishta and Prapanna. Now, the question about sins. A person surrenders to Bhagavan. Worshipping Bhagavan is different from surrendering to Bhagavan. So when we surrender to Bhagavan, that is something different. Worshipping Bhagavan, he may be worshipping, but that will not lead to liberation unless and until he decides that he doesn't want to be in samsaram, he wants to be liberated, so he has the taste towards liberation and towards eternal kainkariam. Only if he has the taste and if he has exhausted all his sins, then only a bhakti yoga nishta can go to Parampadam, can be liberated. But for a upasaka, for a prapanna, as long as the prapanna hasn't done any major sins like Bhagavata Apacharam or real big sins like stealing Bhagavan's wealth or ill-treating women or insulting Acharya. So great Panchamahabhatakams, Patakams and all that. Unless one has committed serious sins like that, if he commits serious sins like that, he will not be liberated. But if he commits minor sins, let's say due to Prakriti Sambandham, due to being in the samsara, he gets some desires and he enjoys some pleasure and so on. Those are all considered as minor sins. For that, Bhagavan will make sure that he enjoys the result. He reaps the result for those small sins in this birth itself, and he will liberate the Atma. But if the Atma has committed great sins, then it is not so easy. Just do all the bad deeds and then final moment recite Bhagavan's name and get liberation. That doesn't work. If one can think so smart, how smart Bhagavan is, he can easily think outsmart these people. So it is not so easy. But in general, Bhagavan is very merciful towards towards the ones who is surrendered towards him, and who is considering Bhagavan to be Upayam and Upayam, and not involved in major sins. Such persons are usually forgiven by Bhagavan and accepted. Uh, Hope that answered your question. Next, another question is there. If an Atma wants to come down to earth after moksham to serve Divideshams, will Bhagavan allow? See, one thing we have to understand, this point is missed by many people. In many sampradayas, they don't even consider this point. When one gets liberated, one is completely purified. And in Vaikuntham, one exists only for Bhagavan's pleasure. After going to Vaikuntham, one will not think, oh, I want to enjoy Krishna form only. I want to enjoy Rama form only. I want to enjoy Ranganatha form only. All of these thoughts are only in samsara. Once one enters into Vaikuntham, when one is blessed by Bhagavan and enters into Vaikuntham, at that stage, he becomes completely dependent on Bhagavan. There is no concept of self-desire there. After going to Vaikuntham, even though Shastram sometimes says that one can do whatever they want, one can, one is fully capable and all that, still, by nature, one acquires complete Sheshatvam and Paratantriyam, total dependence on Bhagavan, total servitude towards Bhagavan. So at that stage, there is no scope for self-interest. So there, after going there, he will not ask, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. That will not be there. It's all up to Bhagavan. Bhagavan will engage each Atma into so many different Kainkaryams. Now, Bhagavan can think, I want to send this person to Srirangam. I want to send this person to Kanchipuram. Like Bhagavan sent Nityasuri, Adishesha, as Bhagavad Ramanuja here. Similarly, he can even choose to send a Muktatma to serve in Dividesham. So that is Bhagavan's choice. If he desires to send that Atma to here, samsara, he can send. At that time, it will be Bhagavan's responsibility. Again, when such Atma comes here, he will not be bound by the rules of karma. Just like Nityasuris are not, when Adishesha comes to samsara, he is not bound by karma. He is not coming here. He hasn't come here due to karma. He has come here due to Icha of Bhagavan, desire of Bhagavan. So, Nityasuris or Muktas, if they come to samsara, they are not bound by the karma here. They will just like Bhagavan is pretending to be a human or a celestial, similarly the Nityas and Muktas are also going to be doing the same thing. But the fundamental point here I am making is, once one goes to Vaikuntham, one will not have self-interest. It will all be Bhagavan's interest. So there is no question of the Atma wanting to do something on its own. It will all be Bhagavan's desire. Atma will just simply follow the Bhagavan's desires. Hope that is clear. Okay, so with this we will end the session. We will try to do every Saturday like this some granthams, not just Rahasya granthams, but any important granthams of our Sampradayam. We will try to go through them in simple English. Alvar Tirudikale Sharanam, Emberamanar Tirudikale Sharanam, lOkAchAryar Tirudikale Sharanam, GR Tirudikale Sharanam, GR Tirudikale Sharanam. பல்லாண்டு பல்லாண்டு பல்லாயிரத்தாண்டு பல கோடி நூறாயிரம் மல்லாண்டு தின்றாள் மணிவண்ணா உன் சேவடி செவிதிருக்காப்பல் யோமோடும் நோடும் திருவினி ஆயிரம் பல்லாண்டு வடிவாயினின் வளமார்களில் வாழ்கின்ற மங்கையும் பல்லாண்டு வடிவார் சோதி வளத்துறையும் சுடர் ஆழியும் பல்லாண்டு படுபோர் புக்கு முழங்கும் அப்பாஞ்ச சன்னியமும் பல்லாண்டு.